Hey there, movie lovers! Welcome back to Fade to Fact, the channel where we dig into the hidden stories, behind-the-scenes secrets, and surprising trivia about your favorite films. Today, we're setting our phasers to fun and diving headfirst into one of the most beloved cult classics of the late 92nd Galaxy Quest, 1999. On the surface, it's a hilarious sci-fi comedy about washed-up television actors who suddenly find themselves living out their old show in real life. But if you've ever watched Galaxy Quest, you know it's much more than that. It's a clever parody, a loving tribute to Star Trek and its fan base, and somehow, a genuinely heartfelt space adventure in its own right. What's even more amazing is how this quirky little movie, released in the middle of the holiday season in 1999, ended up becoming a fan favorite that critics, audiences, and even actual Star Trek actors embraced. It wasn't a massive blockbuster at the time, but over the years, Galaxy Quest has earned its place as one of the funniest and most affectionate send-ups of science fiction ever made. And here's the best part. The story of how this movie got made is almost as wild as the plot itself. From casting shakeups and unexpected rewrites, to backstage drama and unbelievable trivia, Galaxy Quest has a treasure trove of secrets that even the most die-hard fans might not know. So, grab your communicator and buckle up, because we're about to uncover 20 things you never knew about Galaxy Quest. 1. The film was almost called something else. Before it became Galaxy Quest, the movie went through several different working titles. At one point, it was even called Captain Starshine, which doesn't exactly have the same ring to it. The final name was chosen because it perfectly captured both the campy sci-fi vibe and the grand adventure tone. Can you imagine fans quoting, "Never give up, never surrender," from Captain Starshine instead? Doesn't feel quite the same. 2. It was nearly rated R. Believe it or not, Galaxy Quest was originally intended to be a much darker, more adult-oriented comedy. Early drafts of the script contained heavier satire and even more biting humor aimed at Hollywood and fandom. However, DreamWorks decided to tone it down to make the movie more family-friendly. You can still catch glimpses of this in certain scenes like Sigourney Weaver's famously dubbed line, where her character mutters an F-bomb that got softened in editing. 3. Tim Allen beat out some big names. Casting Jason Nesmith, the egotistical actor turned reluctant hero, was a big challenge. The role almost went to Kevin Kline, Bruce Willis, or even Mel Gibson. But ultimately, Tim Allen won out, and his blend of arrogance, charm, and comedic timing made him the perfect choice. Allen later admitted it was one of his favorite roles of all time, since it let him be both the swaggering star and the unlikely underdog. 4. Sigourney Weaver wanted something different. After years of playing the tough, no-nonsense Ripley in the Alien franchise, Sigourney Weaver jumped at the chance to play Gwen DeMarco, a character who's basically known for repeating what the computer says. She loved the irony of being typecast as the sexy sidekick and leaned into it with a wink at the audience. Weaver even dyed her hair blonde for the role to exaggerate the contrast from Ripley. Fans and critics alike praised her for showing off her comedic chops. 5. Alan Rickman stole the show. Alan Rickman, who had just become a household name thanks to Die Hard and later Harry Potter, almost didn't take the role of Alexander Dane. He was hesitant about doing a broad comedy, but he ended up giving one of the film's most memorable performances. His Shakespearean delivery of the silly catchphrase, "By Grabthar's hammer," became iconic. What makes it even better is that Rickman played the role with a perfect balance of bitterness and dignity, turning it into both a running joke and a surprisingly touching moment. 6. Tony Shalhoub rewrote his character. Fred Kwan, the ship's engineer, was originally written as a more nervous, panicky type. But Tony Shalhoub decided to play him as totally laid back, almost like he was just happy to be along for the ride. That choice completely changed the character, making Fred one of the funniest and most relaxed crew members in the film. His calm attitude, even when things go horribly wrong, ended up being one of the movie's biggest comedic highlights. 7. Sam Rockwell didn't want the role at first. Sam Rockwell, who played Guy, the nervous, expendable crew member, initially turned down the part. He was worried it would be too small and not worth his time. But after reading more of the script, he realized how funny and self-aware the role was. The running gag of Guy being convinced he's going to die because he's just an extra from the show has since become one of the most beloved parts of the film. 8. The Thermians were inspired by real fans. The alien race known as the Thermians, who take the fake television show seriously, were partly inspired by real-life sci-fi fandom. Director Dean Parisot wanted them to embody the passion and sincerity of Star Trek fans, while also keeping their odd mannerisms funny. The actors developed their awkward, sing-song voices through rehearsals, and it became one of the film's quirkiest signatures. In a way, the Thermians are both a parody and a love letter to fandom itself. 9. DreamWorks didn't know how to market it. When Galaxy Quest was released in 1999, DreamWorks wasn't sure whether to sell it as a parody, comedy, or a genuine sci-fi adventure. The trailers leaned heavily on slapstick jokes, which misled some audiences. Ironically, this confusion may have hurt its box office performance, since people weren't sure what kind of movie it was. Over time, though, audiences discovered that Galaxy Quest was the perfect mix of both. 10. Star Trek actors loved it. Here's the ultimate compliment. Actual Star Trek actors adored the movie. Patrick Stewart said he was skeptical at first, but after watching it, he found it both hilarious and touching. George Takei praised how it captured the strange bond between actors and fans. And none other than William Shatner himself said the movie nailed the egos and rivalries behind the scenes of a sci-fi show. When the people you're parodying end up loving it, you know you've done something right. 11. The rock monster scene was a last-minute addition. One of the funniest and most exciting sequences, the giant rock monster fight, wasn't in the original script. It was added during rewrites because the studio wanted a more action-packed moment for Tim Allen's character. The crew had to rush to design and animate the creature using CGI, which was still expensive and time-consuming in 1999. Despite the late addition, it became one of the most memorable parts of the film. 12. Rainn Wilson made his film debut. Before The Office made him famous, Rainn Wilson got his very first movie role in Galaxy Quest. He played one of the Thermians, Lonk, complete with the awkward voice and mannerisms. Wilson later said it was surreal to share scenes with actors like Alan Rickman and Sigourney Weaver in his first-ever film job. Most fans don't even realize it's him until they go back for a rewatch. 13. A real convention scene was filmed. The opening convention sequence, with fans in costumes swarming the cast, was filmed at an actual sci-fi convention. Many of the extras were real attendees who were thrilled to be in the movie. This gave the scene an authentic energy, capturing the genuine enthusiasm of fandom. For longtime Star Trek fans, the sequence felt hilariously accurate, from autograph lines to fans quoting obscure lines from the show. 14. Harold Ramis was almost the director. Originally, legendary comedy filmmaker Harold Ramis, Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day, was attached to direct Galaxy Quest. But he had a very different vision for the movie and reportedly wanted actors like Alec Baldwin in the lead role. When the studio went in another direction, Ramis walked away. While some fans still wonder what his version would have looked like, Dean Parisot's lighter, warmer approach clearly won audiences over. 15. The sets were built with serious detail. Even though it's a comedy, the production team treated Galaxy Quest like a real sci-fi blockbuster. The spaceship sets were designed with meticulous detail so they looked just as believable as anything in Star Trek. In fact, many of the control panels and props were fully functional, with working lights and buttons. This realism helped the actors take their roles seriously, even when the dialogue was absurd. 16. The film won a Hugo Award. For all its humor, Galaxy Quest was also recognized by the science fiction community as a true sci-fi achievement. In 2000, it won the Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation, the same award given to Star Trek episodes in the past. It was a rare moment where parody and homage blended so well that fans treated it as genuine science fiction, not just comedy. 17. It outshone Star Wars at the box office, sort of. Here's a fun bit of trivia. When Galaxy Quest opened in December 1999, it was competing against Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, which had dominated the year. While Phantom Menace was obviously the bigger hit, some critics argued that Galaxy Quest was actually the better sci-fi film of the year. Over time, its reputation only grew, while Phantom Menace has been endlessly debated. 18. The Thermian ship had a unique design. The NSEA Protector, the Thermian's ship, was designed to look like a mashup of classic sci-fi vessels. The production team studied ships from Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica but gave it a sleeker, more modern look. The unique, hammerhead shape of the Protector was meant to stand out from other spacecraft designs of the era. Today, it's considered one of the most memorable fictional ships in sci-fi comedy. 19. The ending was almost different. In early versions of the script, the story didn't end with the Galaxy Quest cast getting a reboot of their show. Instead, it ended more ambiguously, with the actors simply returning to their normal lives after saving the universe. Test audiences, however, wanted a more triumphant ending. So the filmmakers shot the final scene of the show, returning to television complete with Guy as a real cast member. 20. Never Give Up, Never Surrender became legendary. The movie's tagline, "Never give up, never surrender," wasn't just a joke, it became an iconic rallying cry for fans. It's been quoted at conventions, used in fan campaigns, and even referenced in other shows. The phrase perfectly sums up the heart of the movie: persistence, hope, and a little bit of silliness. For a parody film, it's rare to have a line that transcends comedy and becomes genuinely inspirational. And that's a wrap on Galaxy Quest. For a movie that started as a quirky parody of Star Trek, it's amazing how it managed to become a classic in its own right. From its sharp comedy and heartfelt moments, to its brilliant cast and loving nods to fandom, it's no wonder that Galaxy Quest has only grown more beloved with time. What's especially remarkable is how the film balances parody and sincerity. It pokes fun at sci-fi tropes, yet never mocks the fans. In fact, it celebrates them. That's why so many people, from casual viewers to die-hard Trekkies, still quote it, rewatch it, and cherish it more than 2 decades later. So the next time you hear someone shout, "Never give up, never surrender," you'll know it's more than just a funny line, it's the spirit of Galaxy Quest. Thanks for watching this episode of Fade to Fact. If you enjoyed this trip through the stars, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden Hollywood stories, and let us know your favorite Galaxy Quest moment in the comments. Until next time, keep watching, keep laughing, and you guessed it, never give up, never surrender.